What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA side.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And guys, for today's video I have several very important updates. I will show you that we have new filings from Next Bridge Hydrocarbons. We have several updates on several lawsuits, and we have some answers. We have some interesting information that I will show you within just several minutes. And before we dive deep into all of these, guys, if you want to know more about technical analysis, if you want to enhance your trading skills, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my Patreon account. And guys, this is the post that I wrote on January the 30th. It is a public post that you can find on my Patreon. It is pretty much all trade alerts that I made from December the 1st to January the 30th. These are the results of these alerts. You can see that all of the trades were in profit except this one on December 19th. TRWV hit a stop loss order, and we've lost about 1.33% on this trade, but all other trades are in green. That is why you can use these trades in your personal trades as a part of your due diligence. So guys, you've seen many of my trade calls, all delivering strong returns in just hours. Now it's your turn to trade smarter. Join my Safe Haven Patreon tier, built for traders who want consistency, structure and real results. You will get a detailed plan to protect your portfolio, monthly one-on-one Zoom sessions with me and private Discord access with all trade alerts, lessons and exclusive updates. And here is the best part. If you don't earn more than your subscription price within 30 days, you will receive a full refund, no question asked, as long as your trading account balance is at least $2,500 and you've taken all the recommended trades during the period. No excuses, no fine print. You profit or you don't pay. Join today and let's start building your edge in the market. So, and let's begin with this news. Just 6 hours ago, Junk Savvy wrote this tweet. Meta BK judge grants FINRA's motion to seal limited portions of FINRA's supplemental declaration on burden. And she added several screenshots of this decision. And to be honest, I don't think that this decision will drastically affect the bankruptcy case. And by the way, Junk Savvy also wrote pretty much the same opinion. Not surprised by this. Judge is acting out of an abundance of caution. I don't see that we lose anything by this ruling. Identity is not the key. Substance of the declaration is. FINRA's arguments are hollow and desperate. No concession for you. TRCH, MMAT, MMTLP. So, let me show you another very important news, and it is the new filings from Next Bridge Hydrocarbons. It is Form 12B-25, notification of late filing. And here is this notification in details. And, according to this notification, Next Bridge Hydrocarbons will postpone their filings of the 10K. It is a yearly earnings report. And this means, guys, in my opinion, Greg McCabe is still trying to kick the can down the road for as long as possible, because you know that if he brings all the document, if he prepares all the document with the strict rules of SEC, it will expose himself, because in this case, this information will be publicly available, and all of the MMTLP shareholders and authorities will see that the Orogrande Basin was fraud, basically, that was orchestrated from the very beginning of TRCH existence, not from the MMTLP existence, not from Next Bridge Hydrocarbons existence, but from the Torchlight Energy Resources very first day. So, let me show you another important update. So Junk Savvy reposted this tweet, and it is the article that was published just several hours ago. SEC approves amendment to NMS plan to further reduce the costs of consolidated audit trail. And here you can see the highlighted part that The amendment approved today expands on cost savings measures approved by the Commission in 2025 and will allow the plan participants to, among other things, 1. Cease creating interim life cycle leakages absent request by an authorized regulatory user. 2. Delete certain CAT data, including all CAT data older than 3 years. And this is the highlighted part. Next one. 3. Ease requirements related to the reprocessing of late records. 4. Cease providing certain functionality associated with online target query tool. 5. And there's 8 bullet points in this list, but the most important and is the most concerning part is the second. Delete certain CAT data, including all CAT data older than 3 years. It might affect the MMTLP case, but in my opinion, it will not do it. And let me explain you why I think so. You know that I don't know how this document, how the proper name of this document, but judge can make a decision and he can make a ruling in order to preserve all the documents that might be related to certain case, especially if this case is some kind of criminal case. On top of that, guys, if someone will delete this information after this ruling, and for example, plaintiff asks for this information and the defendant for some reason deleted these documents, everything that was mentioned in plaintiff's motion will be added to the court as the facts. Which means, guys, I believe that it will not affect the MMTLP case because all the information should be preserved, and if something is needed, it can be collected, it can be stored for as long as needed. Next one, let me show you, wait a second, some comments from Ocelot, and he even changed his Twitter account's name, cat data deleted, and he wrote, in a way, I'm not surprised about the uproar from meme stock communities over this, but first, it should have been entirely predictable that it would be in the crosshairs under Atkins. Secondly, CAT data never has been available to the public or in private litigation. It's a law enforcement tool. If anything, I will just make enforcement actions for the SEC more difficult. And Progressive Libertarian wrote this. Particularly, everything they cry about is irrelevant to them, though in some respects I wish the SEC would give them everything they want. Then, when they are still losers, they won't have these excuses. And Ocelot wrote, couldn't agree more. As a matter of principle, I don't want them to get it because they aren't entitled to it, and I believe in the rule of law, and I don't want this scam to be successful. But it would be nice to see their theories to go poof. So, quite interesting opinion, and yes, unfortunately for now, regardless of the previous stored data, we as an MMTLP community don't have any meaningful steps towards the information that might be stored in this CAT system that can be helpful in our case. On top of that, guys, let me show you this. CPO reposted the tweet that was written by Drew Diligence, and Drew Diligence wrote, MMTLP, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Even if SEC and the brokers get away with deleting the CAT data pertinent to MMTLP, MMAT and TRCH, this does not change that the imbalance that we believe is out there exists. If it does, these positions will still need to be reconciled one way or the other. All you've done is obfuscate the trading history, which would show how we got here. If the imbalance exists to the extent that we believe, nothing that you do will change that fact. And in case you haven't noticed, after 3.5 years, these people will never let this go away. So, and this means, guys, I don't think that something has changed drastically because of this news, but well, we have to do our best in order to push the case forward. And how we can do it? Let's continue with CPO's Twitter account, and let's continue with his litigation process. We have an update from him that he filed just several hours ago. It is a response. And this is this response in detail. It is plaintiff response to FINRA's objection to notice of supplemental authority. Plaintiff William Lee Kelly respectfully submits this response to correct a fundamental mischaracterization in FINRA's objection. FINRA invokes the law of the case doctrine to suggest that this court has already resolved the immunity question. It has not. The mischaracterization not merely the merits of Gallet, it is what compels with the response. And let me quote you just the titles and the conclusion. 1. The law of the case doctrine does not apply. The court has not ruled on immunity. Second subtitle. The threshold question, actual delegation, remains open. Next one. Gallet supports the required inquiry. It is not offered as controlling authority. Next one, FINRA cited authorities do not resolve the delegation question. And the conclusion is following. FINRA's invocation of law of the case misrepresents the posture of this litigation. The court has not ruled on immunity. The immunity question depends on a threshold delegation inquiry that remains unresolved. Plaintiff's notice of supplemental authority is a proper and routine filing supporting that unresolved question. FINRA's request to strike or disregard the notice should be overruled. And this document was signed just 2 days ago on March the 30th. So, which means, guys, CPO is still fighting, and it is good to see that we have at least a dozen of people who are fighting in courts for the MMTLP resolution. Let me show you another person who is basically doing the same. Scott wrote on March the 30th, wrote this. The SEC deal with Meta that forced them to pay $1 million fine and the SEC versus Burda and Palikars lawsuit is the main load-bearing beam that ensures that MMTLP shareholders get something down the line if I can convince the US Bankruptcy Court Judge Spraker that his February 5th, 2026 orders stating that next breach was separate from Meta was in error. I raised it as a standing issue and also to show that Wes Christian told the court he no longer represented NBH, but anticipating what the trustee's attorney would do, he certainly does now in next breach versus Davis. Beyond that, Meta provided money and talent according to the SEC to get next breach going in 2020. For S1 purposes, the SEC filings clearly show that Burda and Palikars absolutely knew that there was scant oil and gas in Orogrande. This is a very important part that pretty much doesn't need any evidence anymore. Bottom line, I'm arguing that because the entire MMTLP merger and spin-off of TRCH was fabricated and false, don't take my word for it. The SEC says it was with basically zero assets or assets misrepresented in profound shareholder-destroying ways. Then MMTLP people either 1. Have shares of MMAT for recovery because of the fraudulent creation of MMTLP, or have auctionable claims against the Meta estate, Palikars, and the board of directors, as is Jennifer Vitrano's case now on hold while it all gets sorted out. The wild card in the mix isn't just Seba Management LLC or Jane Street or Parabellum Capital. It's possibly through one of the biggest firms out there. Carlyle Group. Here's the filing from last week and few snapshots. And guys, definitely it is a good opportunity for MMTLP community to see at least these two options. And both of them, if Scott Roth proves this in court, are quite beneficial for MMTLP community, because in this case, one way or another, either they will be a part of MMAT bankruptcy case, or George Palikars and basically other board of directors will be responsible for these actions. On top of that, guys, take a look right here. Just recently I published the tweet and basically the article. I explained some details about the article that was published by Venturian Capital, and this is another update in his site, from his site, and this is the article 3 out of 7. And let me quote you this. When FINRA halted MMTLP on December the 9th of 2022, this squeeze hadn't happened. The price had already fallen 77% from its peak. Short interest sat at 1.6% of outstanding shares and was declining. The corporate action delivered 64,000 holders a stake in private oil company with no public market, no DTC eligibility and no proved reserves, exactly what the S1 filed 5 months earlier had disclosed. But the machine didn't stop, it adapted. Article 3 of the MMTLP machine traces what happened after the halt, the immediate reframe that turned a failed squeeze into proof of regulatory collusion, the congressional letter campaign that generated pressure without producing findings, the YouTube documentaries and advocacy organization that kept 64,000 investors oriented toward imminent institutional salvation while individual legal clocks run in the background. It also does something the community's own channels never did: lay out the actual statute of limitations mechanics governing private securities fraud claims and map them against the timeline of what investors were being told while those windows closed. The squeeze thesis said the math made a forced cover inevitable. The post-halt narrative said the investigation made restitution inevitable. The behavioral instruction was identical both times. So was the structural asymmetry between the people giving it and the people following it part of an ongoing 7-part investigative series? Primary sources only. No financial position, no compensation from any interested party. Article 4. The halt examined on its own terms what FINRA's decision actually was, what the data behind it showed, and what a fair accounting looks like when you strip away both the regulatory defense and the community counter-narrative. And guys, I highly encourage you to read these articles, the series of these articles, because well, it brings a lot of information to the table that might change your opinion. And if you read it carefully, you will see that this case is extremely complicated, and potentially the people who originally were mentioned as the wrongdoers are not the wrongdoers, or at least it is not their main fault, but are the people who tried to switch the narrative potentially might be the real wrongdoers who orchestrate this entire story. And I think that's all information that I want to provide you. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel with notification bell, and see you guys and girls next time. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you.